Hello everyone, today we will see two different doctrines, doctrine of owl and doctrine of rat in law of inheritance in Muslim law. So in Hindu law what happens when a person dies, the property gets distributed equally. In Muslim law, the sharers are having fixed shares. So in that case, two different situations could arise. For example, imagine there is a circle. Okay, that is the property. If you divide that circle into equal parts, there will be no remainder, there will be no balance. But if you divide the circle into unequal parts, what would happen is either there will be a remainder or it exceeds the circle, it exceeds the property value. So in this situation, it will be very difficult to allot the shares to the sharers. In order to solve that issue, these two doctrines have emerged. We will see how this doctrine works through animation so that it will help you to understand better. Let's get started. When a Muslim dies, there are four duties that has to be performed. The first duty is to pay the funeral and burial expenses of the deceased. The second one is to pay the debts to the creditor if he had any. And the third duty is to determine the value or will of the deceased. And the will, we know that it can be only of maximum one third of the property. It cannot exceed more than that. And fourth duty is to distribute the remainder to the relatives, that is sharers of the deceased. So I've already made a video on who are the sharers and residuaries and what are the fixed shares to them, with what conditions, all these things. Please do go visit over there to get an idea on that. So let's understand the doctrines through animation. So what happens, these are the sharers, and let's assume this circle is the property value and we need to distribute this property to the sharers. So there are three sharers in this picture and we will divide the share in a fixed ratio as per the sharers and residuary concept. So since it is unequal, what happens is these three shares will be allotted and there exists a balance or remainder in the existing circle. So what we will do with this balance? So in order to avoid that issue, the share will be proportionately increased and distributed. So this concept is called doctrine of RAD. So in order to avoid the balance, we have to increase the share proportionately and distribute the property. So now there will be no remainder or balance in the property value. So there could be one more condition also will arise if we allot the shares inequally. So let's assume this is a property value, the circle, and there are four sharers. And what happens is when you divide the property in a fixed ratio, sometimes it exceeds the property value. So the shares which are allotted is more than the property. So if you see in this picture, the shares are more than the circle. So what happens is we need to reduce the share in order to allot to the sharers. So this reducing the share proportionately is called doctrine of AUL. So once the shares are reduced proportionately, it will be distributed to the sharers in order to avoid the exceeding issue. So thus doctrine of AUL will come into application when the specific shares allotted to various shares exceeds unity, then it has to be reduced in a proportionate manner in order to solve that particular issue. So let's assume there is a Muslim man dies and if he has three sharers, sharer 1, sharer 2 and sharer 3, and X is the value of the share allotted to sharer 1, Y to sharer 2 and Z to sharer 3, and if you sum it up, X plus Y plus Z, and if it exceeds unity, then what happens? We need to reduce each share value so that it will become equal to unity. This concept is called doctrine of AUL. So there are four steps which has to be performed to achieve that doctrine. First one is while summing up we need to reduce it to the common denominator. Then after that we need to add the numerator. This will become the new denominator. Once it is done we need to allot the shares. We will see one illustration so that it will help you to understand better. So the next illustration, the deceased left with 4 people, father, mother, husband and daughter. So now husband share is 1 by 4 since daughter is there. So father share is 1 by 6 and mother's share also 1 by 6 and daughter share will be half because there is no son. So if you sum it up, 1 by 4 plus 1 by 6, 1 by 6 plus 1 by 2 and reduce it to the common denominator. So 4, 6, 6, 2, if you take LCM, the common denominator will be 12. So if you reduce it to common denominator, it will be 3 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 6 by 12. So what happens here is 13 by 12. So one share is extra, 13 by 12, which is greater than unity. So in order to apply this doctrine, this 13 numerator will become the denominator. So husband share is now 3 by 13, father share is 2 by 13, and mother share is 2 by 13, and daughter share is 6 by 13. This is how it is calculated. So when it comes to Shia and Sunni law of this doctrine itself worked differently. So far we have seen Sunni law of inheritance illustrations, but there is a difference how it applies in Shia law. So in Sunni law there will be proportionate reduction of all the shares, but in Shia law it the reduction will applicable only to daughter or the daughter and full or consequent sister or sisters alone. So other heirs will not get affected based on this doctrine. We will see a small illustration which will help you to understand better. So we will see that illustration, the same illustration which we have seen previously, but how it differs in Shia law. So the husband's share is 1 by 4, father and mother 1 by 6 and daughter share is 1 by 2. So if you sum it up and reduce it to the common denominator. So if you take the common denominator, it will be 12 and if you sum it up, it will be like same 13 by 12. Till this step, we have seen this previously, it is the same. So now what happens is this 13 by 12, 1 is extra, 1 by 12 is extra. This extra will be reduced from the daughter's share. Others' heirs will not get affected. So husband's share will be same 3 by 12. Father's is 2 by 12 and mother's is 2 by 12. So this doctrine of AUL in Shia law will applicable, that is reduction of the shares will applicable to daughters. So daughters share will get reduced. So this 6, you have to subtract the extra from the daughter share. So extra is 1 by 12. So 6 minus 1 by 12 is 5 by 12. So husband, father, mother shares are not affected, only daughter shares are affected based on the doctrine. So previously in Sunni law, what happens? We are calculating the numerator and that new denominator will be the numerator. But here there is no swapping of numerator and denominator. So denominator will be the same, but only we are reducing the share of the daughter based on the extra. So now if you see, so if you sum it up 3 by 12, 2 by 12 plus 2 by 12 plus 5 by 12, it will be equal to the unity, that is 12 by 12, which is equal to unity. That's how there is a small difference between Sunni and Shia law and how the doctrine works. So thank you so much for listening to this video. If you have any doubts or feedback, please do it in the comment section. And thank you so much.